Hey, everybody, Mark Herman, aka LA Bengals fan on most of the major platforms, and I am joined here, as always, one of my partner in crime, Sam Schneider of Primetime Sports Talk, and this is another episode of Jungle Talk.
Booty,
Yeah, here
let's
we
go,
go.
baby. Let's go.
All right, well, it's Ravens week, and we actually have a very significant game. We have a chance of making a huge statement and taking control of the division this week. So it's a big game. We're going to preview it like we always do. We're going to talk about the things we're feeling good about, the things we're not feeling good about. But we'll open with a little news. I don't know if everybody caught Mike Hilton's comment at the end of his presser today, where he basically just out of the blue said, extend Jesse Bates. So, that kind of got people talking about, yeah, we need to extend Jesse Bates. But it was interesting. I know for a fact what this tells you is that there's people in the locker room watching how the Bengals are treating Bates.
Yeah, I think I think you should. I mean, we should absolutely talk about the fact that you got a franchise that spent the entire offseason, as far as their promoting people, social media, everything, saying this guy is the greatest safety in the league, and then going,
But yeah,
yeah, and it's and I'm guessing, I don't know for sure. I don't know for sure, but I'm guessing it's over, maybe one extra year on the contract, or probably some extra money on the guaranteed
guarantee, right?
contract.
Yeah.
But you know what? I mean, we're going to franchise him next year anyway. You could have saved money by actually getting the contract done.
Yeah.
So come on, guys.
I
You got to
agree.
do
I
it.
think guys like T. Higgins, who are going to be coming up for a contract, are watching what's going on. I think the Bengals need to do the right thing. Absolutely. You can roll. If you franchise him, you're going to have a significant number guaranteed. So you might as well just roll that into his guarantee, give him the extra year or give him a little more of a guarantee. Let's
Sure.
get this done and let's show because like I said, that's the one thing I took away from Mike Hilton's comment was people in the locker room are watching. So do the right thing. And that's all
Right.
I have to say on it. It was, like I said, it was he had finished his presser and basically leaned back to the mic as he was walking away and said, extend Jesse Bates, and then walked away from the podium. It was that stand with the phone sitting on it. But
Well,
yeah.
and you make a great point, Mark. You make a great point, because it's not just people in the locker room are watching. It's people around the league that
Yeah.
are. When you want to pull people in, when you think you're going to try to get over that hump and get to the playoffs or whatever, you got to look like the team that's going to pay you and take care of you,
Yeah.
and not screw you over. You know what I mean? And I'm not saying the Bengals are screwing over Jesse Bates. I understand there's a lot of negotiations, but you can't spend an entire offseason saying this is the best safety in the league,
And then
and
not
then
paying.
not pay the best safety in the league, money.
Especially after Jamal Adams got his deal done, we knew where the market was. So, and he wants to stay
Exactly.
here. He wants to stay here. So let's do the right thing. So let's jump right into what we're not feeling good about. Always start with the negative, and then we're going to end with the positive. I'll start us off. Where our recent track record against Baltimore is not great. We've lost the last 5 meetings. The last 3 have been by 38-3, 27-3, 49-13. They've all been blowouts. So I'm not saying this is going to be a blowout because I think this is a different team, but obviously our track record over the last 5 games can't make you feel good going into this game in Baltimore. So that's the
Yeah,
first thing I have.
I agree 100%. And Zach Taylor, I think thus far is winless against Baltimore.
Yes.
And it's one of those things where, this year I feel like we can stop the run up the middle. And regardless of the injuries that Baltimore has had in their backfield so far this season, it's you can't really game plan for Lamar Jackson. You really can't. I mean, a week is not long enough. You got 3 weeks. Yeah, maybe you could try to bottle somebody up, but a week is not long enough to game plan for a quarterback that can run like that.
Mm.
Zach Taylor's never beat him. It's in Baltimore. It's going to be loud, and we'd be remiss to not mention. I think it's kind of neither here nor there. The Joe Burrow throat injury, where he's on vocal rest, so he can't scream out the calls as much. It's going to be a lot louder in Baltimore than it was in Detroit. But you can't game plan for Lamar Jackson. That's hard to do because you never know where a guy's going to go,
Right.
right?
Right. So, well, the flip side of that is, we're due. We've lost 5 in a row. Every streak comes to an end. We're due.
You
And
love
Zach,
you love the we're due. You
and
love the we're
and
due.
and that Zach has had all 3 blowouts have been under Zach's rule. So, it's the 5 games goes back before Zach Taylor, but all 3 blowouts have been under his reign. The other thing I don't feel good about, and I've never felt good, this is one of my top things every time we play Baltimore, is Justin Tucker. I mean, they get to the 45-yard line and they're in Justin Tucker range. I mean, it's it's Justin Tucker. So
Yeah, I get it. I get it. I mean, and normally I would say that I'm not concerned about him because I don't think they're going to kick a bunch of field goals. This game, I agree with you.
no,
I think the kicking game might be a big point. And I think it's, fair to say this is a great opportunity for us to trot out our Evan Almighty
Heaven Almighty.
and say, you know what, Justin Tucker, we got one too.
Yeah.
So that's kind of exciting.
Yeah, we'll see how that plays out. Also, Andrews is their big target, especially with Sammy Watkins hurting and a lot of their receivers injured. Andrews, we have problems with tight ends. So,
Wait,
hopefully,
Sammy Watkins is hurting?
yeah, can you
Never
believe
heard
it?
that before.
Yeah,
I haven't heard that in the last.
yeah.
I've
We'll go through the injury report because
years.
it favors us. So I have it as a good. So that's why I'm not going to go through the Ravens injury because I have it as a good. We'll save it for the good. But yeah, Andrews bothers me. The other 2 things I have here is we're catching them at maybe not the best time. I mean, they lost to the Raiders to open up the year, and they've gone 5-0 since then. Now, albeit we could flip this around, they've really only played quality games their last 2 games where they beat Indy and they beat the Chargers. I mean, the Broncos, you can't put any weight on. Anybody who watched the first half, which was easy to shut off to do this recording, that was so unwatchable about how bad the Broncos are. And then you have the Detroit game where they should have lost the game. That's absolutely ridiculous in terms of the not calling the delay of game and then Tucker getting a 66-yarder. So not only did he have to hit a new record, but it shouldn't even be in him. It should have been a 71-yard attempt, which they wouldn't have made. So, and then you go back to the game before that. If Edwards-Helaire doesn't fumble the ball late in the game, they lose to Kansas City. This team could easily be 3-3, but and we could easily be 5-1 or 5, but the bottom line is their 2 quality wins have been their last 2. So we may be catching them at the wrong time.
Yeah, I you know what? I mean, no bullshit. I honestly, I admire Justin Tucker. That guy can, I mean, I have never seen anybody kick the ball like him.
No,
You know what I mean? Other than, going way, way back and seeing club feet and seeing stuff like that. I've never seen that. That said, yeah, they shouldn't have won that Detroit game. It was a blown call by the refs. He shouldn't have even lined up for it. But you're absolutely right. I mean, they lost to the Raiders, who are looking better than the Raiders normally look. I'm still not quite buying them. But, they beat Kansas City. Kansas City's got huge issues on defense. They beat Detroit, Denver, Indianapolis, and Los Angeles. And don't get me wrong, they destroyed Los Angeles, and they did not allow Herbert, like you said, to do anything good. I think that was a quality win.
Yeah.
But I'm still not buying. I mean, they even beat Detroit on that field goal. They beat them, I think, 19-17. I like,
Yeah, I mean, we went into Detroit also, and we didn't have any of those issues. So, like I said,
yeah,
you're looking at common opponents. That's something I feel good about. But their two quality wins are their last two wins. So,
yeah.
and then the other thing is our slow starts. This is a game we have to start fast. Our slow starts concern me. If you wanna really get Baltimore backed up and pressing and doing things that they're not comfortable doing, we need to play a good first half. We cannot have the conservative play calling we've had in the first half, because then it'll come back
100%.
and hurt us.
100%. And I mentioned this in our picks article, our expert picks article on Primetime Sports Talk. Mark, I think you saw it. And I even said that I expected Baltimore to jump out to a huge lead because of our, conservative play calling in the first half. I fully expect that to happen. I'm not down on the team or anything like that. I hope I'm wrong, but I couldn't agree more. I expect Baltimore to jump out. And the only way we're going to win this game is if we are aggressive from the jump,
Right.
like just from the start.
So, all right, that's all the bad I have. I want to jump over to the good. Do you have any other bad you want to mention? Or are we going to
No,
move to
no,
the
because
we're going to move to the rosier
my
side of things?
no, because my good has been kind of with the bad anyway.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I've got, that we're playing with a lot of confidence. You look at common opponents like Detroit, and that has to make you feel good. The fact that we just went in and steamrolled them, and Baltimore literally needed a blown official call and a record setting kick to win the game. Otherwise, they
Right.
lose that game. So you've got to feel good about that. Lamar has had some real subpar performances. He's pulled out some wins, but he looked horrible against Indy in the first half. They were getting schooled. So you have Lamar, putting up some subpar games. And just with respect to, and then we'll go through the injuries, but just with respect to last week's win, remember, San Diego was not at full strength. Keenan Allen was not 100%. Mike Williams had a swollen knee. I have Mike Williams on my fantasy team.
Are you talking about Los Angeles?
Oh, yes. You know what? I'm just going to preface this. For the rest of my life, they're going to be the San Diego Chargers. 10 years from now, we'll be doing this show, and I'll still call them San Diego. So it's just
me too, but I still love to call somebody else out.
I know it's not a problem. Like I said, when you hear, there's no other team in San Diego. So when I say San Diego, I'm referring to the Chargers. But yeah, they did not have Mike Williams, who is playing the Mike Thomas role in the Saints defense, because the Saints offensive coordinator is now on the Chargers. He's playing the Mike Thomas, but he has been on fire. I mean, I've got him on my fantasy team. He's been money. I benched him last week because I didn't know what he was going to do. I thought he was just going to be a decoy. He only had, I think, 2 or 3 targets, but taking Mike Williams away from them was a big loss for Herbert. So, the Chargers, while they did get, while it was a very good game plan by Harbaugh, the Chargers were not at 100%. And I don't think Herbert had ever really faced Baltimore before. So I didn't think he knew what to expect. And this was in Baltimore. So I'm kind of tempering last week's game a little bit. That's making me feel good. And I'm going to stop there, let you throw out some good. And then we're going to go through the injury report, which is my last good thing.
I've got some good. My good is that, it's the obvious one. Jamar Chase is the best wide receiver. Everybody can take Justin Jefferson and throw him down the tube at this point. Jamar Chase right now is the best wide receiver since Randy Moss through 5 games.
Yeah. according to Randy Moss.
It's never happened.
Right.
It's never happened.
But-
This guy is putting up, 1 trillion yards, 5 touchdowns. I mean, he's not screwing around, and I don't understand how long. And by the way, he probably won Rookie of the Week last week just for that block.
Yeah.
Just for that block on for Mixon going into the end zone.
Yeah.
And as well he should.
Sure.
That is a rookie getting down there and saying, no, my guy's getting in. That's awesome.
That was such an amazing 4th down call. It just puts a smile on my face when I think about it. So,
it brings
all
back
4th down. It's not a sneak. He rolls out. He throws the Mixon.
You know what? Maybe you're starting to get it.
Yeah. So
the other excuse me, the other good thing I will say is, through 16 games in his career, that's a season. Or it was a season until this year, and now we got 17. Through 16 games, Joe Burrow, his quarterback rating is 94.3.
Right. I saw this. Yeah.
He's 136.8. He's 10.8 on big time throws. He's got great stats. Anybody that thought we should have taken Tua, wrong. No. Anybody that thought we should take Sewell, wrong. You guys are all wrong.
So I was in favor of Sewell because I wanted the offensive line, but I didn't. But like I said, no one anticipated we were drafting the next Randy Moss.
I was too. Initially,
and I was on the record saying
I got on board the Chase train when I saw where we were going. Don't get me wrong. I'm not talking junk. I'm not saying I told you so. But I got on board the Chase train after a little bit, and boy, it just could not have gone any better in those 2 picks.
Yeah. I said in our draft show, I didn't think there was a wrong choice between those 2. I said I could see a place for both of them. And if we went Chase, we had to make it up in the 2nd round, which I think we did with Jackson Carman. So I would have liked to have seen us sign one more free agent, get another body in. But other than that, I once we drafted him, this wasn't like a John Ross pick. I was fully on board with him being our number 1 because we didn't make that, it wasn't like a John Ross pick. This was a definite winner, and the chemistry is just unbelievable. So, and those 2 guys in the last 2 minutes of the first half have been unprecedented. Remember, I always talked about scoring going into the locker room and scoring coming out, and we've had these great final drives to end the half, and they've all been these long completions to Jamar Chase. Some of them have been touchdowns, some have put us in field goal range, but that's been huge going into the half.
Well, I should say actually, Mark, that right now Burrow leads the league in air yards per pass for big passes. So he's got, I think, 4 that are over 30. So,
right, yeah, you garbled a little bit there. What was the stat you were saying?
Joe Burrow has a 4. He leads the league in air yards per pass. He leads the league in the top 4 passes per air yards. All 4 of them to Jamar Chase.
Yeah. So,
and guess what? He wouldn't be able to throw them to Penny Sewell.
No. And you know what? And he wouldn't have the confidence he has. There's all that time at LSU. You can see that he's got the confidence to chuck it up there for him. Last thing I will go through is the injury report. The Baltimore is banged up. We don't have to sit and reiterate all the different injuries they've had at the running back position. But you have, Patrick Queen was limited practice. Sammy Watkins didn't practice. Jimmy Smith didn't practice today. Justin Houston didn't practice today. Just like I said, with ours, most of the guys are limited or full practice. And the limited practice guys that are of note would be Hendrickson and Chris Evans, which we know are real insignificant injuries. Those aren't things that are going to keep them out on Sunday. Burrow's listed on the injury report, full practice, but the throat may be an issue. Ricardo Allen's back at full practice, so we'll have him in the secondary. So that's good news. So there's no question that the injury report 100% favors us versus Baltimore. So that's something I'm feeling good about. So that's, like I said, I feel good about our injuries.
Yeah, I do too. I agree on everybody you mentioned. I think Hendrickson, they're probably just giving him a rest. Evans, it's a hammy, so that's a little concerning. But at the same time, we just activated Samaje Perine back off the COVID list. So, as well as Evans played last week, my guess is he's not going to get nearly as many snaps.
Well,
I want him to.
Right.
I really want him to. I just don't know if he will. I will say my one concern, Clark Harris, the long snapper, was listed as limited in practice. And that is one of those positions where you're like,
but he was full practice today.
What's that?
He was full practice today. He was limited yesterday. He was full practice today.
I think it was okay. Well, maybe.
Yeah, I'm looking right at the sheet. So he was full practice today. So like I said, we're definitely ahead of the curve on the injury front compared to these guys. I know also Ronnie Stanley, I don't know what his situation is in terms of whether he'll be playing. I know that Latavius Murray was the other one I wanted to mention. Probably won't play. He did not practice. But Ronnie Stanley, I know, has had his injury.
No, Latavius, he'll play.
Oh, well, yeah, hasn't practiced the last 2 days, so we'll see. I know that the Ravens tried to pick up the guy from Dallas on waivers. He has not reported to them to get some offensive line depth.
I love that.
But it also, I don't think it has anything to do with the Ravens. I think he announced today on Twitter that he needs to take some time off for his own mental health. So there's something going on behind the scenes, which is why, the Dallas released him and all that. So he's not going to be there for him. So, like I said,
big respect for that. And also there's another one that we didn't mention, unless you did when I was, kind of paused there.
Right.
We got, this is flying under the radar, but Hakeem Adeniji has been allowed back to, or we activated him back to practice. Now we've got, I think, 60 days to put him on the roster, but that's a good thing for depth, man. Getting a Adeniji in there is a huge thing for depth. Yeah. So,
and I think it's 3 weeks. You have 3 weeks to put him on the roster.
Yeah, but I think it's as far as our list goes, we're in way better shape than a lot of other teams.
Yep. Agreed. So let's jump in. I know your prediction, so why don't you give it first? So
well,
go ahead.
What did I say? So I always do the picks for anybody that's watching. I always do the picks for Primetime Sports Talk. And I picked, I'll back it up. I think the Bengals are ready to contend. I really do. I think that right now the Ravens still own Zach Taylor. I still think they're a better team. I hate to say that because I would love to be a homer right now, but I chose the Ravens to win this game. because I think they're going to jump out to an early lead because of our early conservative play calling. But I do think Burrow, Chase, and Boyd, I think is going to have a really good game this week. So I believe I picked 31-26. Is that right, Mark?
Something it was. I remember the 31. I don't remember if you were 24 or 26, but you
I
had the
definitely said 26. So,
okay.
but but I will say this. I I'm not gonna lie. I think that last touchdown is big
All right. Well, you froze, so I'm going to go ahead and do my prediction.
for
Um,
that, and we're trying to kick an onside kick. I think the
I don't know. You're having internet issues, so I'm going to go ahead and tell you. I know you have the Ravens winning. I do think Zach gets more aggressive. I think he's heard a lot of the talk. I think internally, some of the players have expressed, that they would like a little more aggressive game plan. And I think most importantly, I think our defense shows up first half and maybe makes something happen. You know what? I'm going to be the homer. I've got the Bengals winning. I think this is going to be a hard fought game. I think that this is going to be your typical ugly AFC North kind of game, but I've got us winning 27-23. And the
nice.
reason why I've got the 27-23 is that way we're not going to get hurt by a Justin Tucker play at the end. We're going to have Jackson pressing to do something because he needs more than a field goal. So it won't be Justin Tucker doinking one in from 66. But I've got us. I think we're going to go in and make some noise. I think they're going to be overly concerned with Jamar Chase. So I'm thinking big games out of Higgins, Uzama, and Boyd. I think we're going to have bigger games out of them. So
Listen, I hope that I am wrong and that you are right. Like I pick these games, and I've gotten hammered in the comments for picking against the Bengals before. But don't get me wrong, I'm a fan. I hope you're absolutely right.
we're due. I think this is it. I think Zach gets his first.
We
We've had a lot of firsts this
we're due.
year.
You
I
love
think
me.
Zach gets his first win against the Ravens. I think we turn the tide. I think we make the statement. This is the game. This team knows that this is the game to make the statement. If they want to show everybody they've arrived, this is how you do it. Before the bye, we could beat Pittsburgh and Baltimore, and then maybe even Cleveland before the bye week. I mean, that would be absolutely huge to go in 2-1 or 3-0 in our division play. So I really think that happens. I'm hoping.
That's a fantastic point also, because not only would this be like a huge win, and it's a statement game, but under Zach Taylor, and this is one of the things you can say about Zach, is everybody has been extremely disciplined. So if you're going to make a statement game, you could still put a big hit on somebody. You could still lay somebody out, but you don't jump off sides.
Right.
You don't false start. You don't pass interference. You don't do any of that stuff. I think we could say that a lot about Zach Taylor's teams.
Right. No, they have been. And none of this taunting. I don't want to see Von Bell standing over anybody doing anything. Don't give away anything. Just go back to the huddle and let's move on to the next play.
You better believe whether it was public or not, you better believe he heard about that. You know what I mean? He got called to the office on that stuff.
Well, I called. There were 3 plays in that game that if they just go the other way, we win that game. And it was the T. Higgins fumble, Logan Wilson not falling on the ball, and Von Bell not taunting. Any one of those things happen, we win the Bears game. So definitely. And we didn't have a lot of penalties. They were just, when they were penalties, they were big. Apple's PI and that kind of things. But I really think we put it together this week. I'm hoping for the best. I would love to be horny and blowing the victory horn on Sunday when we do our wrap-up show. Before I forget, please subscribe. It's all we ask. And Sam, tell them where they can find all your stuff. We forgot
wait, well, hold on. What did you say? You said subscribe?
Yes, I want you to subscribe. Hit the little button. That's all we ask. You get the full premium package at
Is
no
it
charge.
on the? Is it on the?
Yeah, it's right here in the one of these corners down here. I think it's right down here.
It is
Right
right
down
there.
here. There's a
Which
little
is- wait,
logo.
now,
Get it?
before I click it, Mark,
Before you click it.
does it cost money?
No, it's all free. It's all included. Just hit there we are, that button. Hit that button right down there and
Money?
subscribe. Hit the bell. You'll get the alerts. And Sam, tell them where they can find all your stuff while you're frozen.
Really? Sure. You can find me on Twitter at buy and sell you. I write for Primetime Sports Talk, which is primetimesportstalk.com, or you can find us online at Talk Primetime.
All right. Well, we will see you after the game on Sunday with the recap. And hopefully I am blowing the victory horn. So I want to say hoo to everybody. And we'll catch you Sunday. Hopefully we're in first place alone in the AFC North. Take care, everybody.